Hey guys, I want to talk to you about some math vocabulary words that you've probably heard before, but I just want to make sure you know what the words mean. So this week we've been talking about parts of a whole. We've been splitting shapes up into different equal parts and talking about how many parts we made out of that one whole shape. And when we're splitting things up, we've been talking about things like 1 out of 2, right? Or 2 out of 2. So if you folded something and you got 2 parts, you would either have 1 out of 2 parts, or like you have a cookie and you break it into 2, maybe you eat 1 out of 2, or if you ate the whole thing, you ate 2 out of 2. Well, there's another word for that, and that's a half, right? You've probably heard that one before. That one's not a big deal. Well, if you're talking about more than one half, you're talking about like 2 halves. So if you break a cookie in half, you eat half of it. If you eat the other half, you ate both halves of the cookie. Half is another word for 1 out of 2 equal parts. But then we get a little bit more tricky when we're talking about how to make things into 4 equal parts. So far we've been talking about like this circle. I have 1 out of 4 parts is red. 2 of 4 parts is red. 3 of 4 parts is red. 4 of 4 parts of my circle is red. But there's different ways we can talk about 4. So we can say 1/4. That's a vocabulary word I need you to remember. Fourth. So 1/4 of this circle is red. It's the same thing as saying 1 out of 4 parts is red. It's just a little bit of a shorter way of saying it. 1/4 or 2/4 red. 3/4 of my circle is red, or 4/4 of my circle is red. Now, if that's starting to get you confused, just wait. I got another one for you. Another word for the same thing is quarter. And you've probably heard quarter before because it's money, right? Did you know that there's 4 quarters in a dollar? And that's why it's called a quarter, because it's dividing a dollar into 4 equal parts, 4 quarters. And the same thing when we're dividing shapes into 4 equal parts. You might say 1/4 of my circle is red. 2/4 of my circle is red. 3/4 of my circle is red. Or the whole thing, it would be 4/4 of my circle is red. So 1 out of 4, 1/4, 1/4. Those are all terms that mean the same thing. Okay? Yeah, you can do it. Just have to remember, it's just new vocabulary words, just practice. Okay, so as we get into our actual math sheet, something that you might want to do at home that'll help you really wrap your mind around this is get a square of paper. Now, for it to work, it has to be a perfect square. I'm going to fold this square into halves. Remember, that's 2 parts. So I'm going to fold it like this. If I line the corners up perfectly, then look, I've just folded that into 2 equal parts. So I have 1/2 and there's the other half. 2 halves, or 1 out of 2, 2 out of 2 equals my whole square. I think another way that I could fold this in half is if I go corner to corner. Let's see. And I can make 2 equal triangles. So there's another way to fold it in perfect halves. 1/2, the other half, 2 halves of my whole. But what if we wanted to fold something into fourths? Well, I'd start with halves. And if you're doing this at home, you might want to pause the video and see if you can figure out how could you fold your square into 4 equal parts, because we've talked about 2 equal parts. What am I going to do to this to make it 4 equal parts? Well, I am going to fold it in half again. And when I unfold it, look at that. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts of my square. So this little part of the square would be 1/4 or 1/4 of my square. The top is 2/4 or 2/4 of my square. But you could do the same thing with triangles. Look, so I'm going to fold it in half like I did before, corner to corner. And now you know I have two halves, two out of two, one out of two, you know what I'm saying, equal parts. But how can I make that into 4 equal parts? Well, what if I fold it in half again? Now look at that. I made 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts of this shape. And we're going to use this skill to do our beginning of our math paper today. So look at this. We're going to use what we learned with our shapes. And first we're going to start with halves. Where's my half one? All right. And how did we divide that in halves? We did it this way, right? That's 1, 2 equal parts. So that's in half. Or we did it this way. So that's 1, 2 equal parts. So there's a half. And the bottom one wants us to divide it into fourths. So we're going to use our paper that we folded in half again and again. So can you remember what that was? Maybe pause the video and try to draw it yourself or talk about it. So right here, remember, I have 2 equal parts. And then if I did half again, that one's not very perfect, but you know what I mean. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. Here I did the same thing. I did it in half this way. And then in half this way, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts, or 4 quarters, or 4 fourths. Same thing. All right, guys, I want you to get on the inside of that and you do the rest on your own. I know you can do it.